said to you, I didn't have a lot of space in my 5 minutes for good news, but I think in every respect, your responses prove that you are trying to do what you can personally. Michael Astor was trying to do what he can as the commissioner to make changes, so we appreciate that. I urge you to continue to be candid with us. As I said, I urge you to shake things up. When you come here, shake them up, not just internally, but when you come here, shake them up, and recognize that you have to obviously get your paycheck, but if you do the right thing, you'll get paid more than just with a paycheck. So I just urge you to continue with it.
Well, we have been doing a fair amount of shaking up, and we're trying to do it as politically as possible. I also should say, I've really been blessed that we put together a fairly new team. There's been a lot of shaking up within the agency, and they've just really come together and done an absolutely first-class job. So, this agency is too big for any one person to change, and I give a lot of credit to a lot of people sitting behind me and some of the people who are not here today.
I'd love to see it register on the Richter scale, so you keep at it. Support staff. You didn't have a chance to get to the question to answer because I ran out of time, but I don't know how much you can give us now, but perhaps in writing give us a more elaborate response. But I'm very concerned that as you hire the AOJs that we know we need, you will not have the support staff. You already don't have the support staff, so to hire at less than a 1-to-1 ratio would be a 4-to-1 or so, 5-to-1 ratio.
So let me give you the short answer, and we'll give you a longer answer for the record. Because I do think that some people, their heart's in the right place, have misunderstood some of our budget numbers. So one of the things that we did, even in the time of contracting resources, we realized that judges can't do the work without support staff. We knew approximately when the judges were coming in. To make it as seamless as possible, we advanced higher support staff in anticipation of the new ALJs to some extent. So on my watch, we started at 4.1 support staff per ALJ. Unlike a lot of the rest of the agencies, that didn't go down. That went up. So that went up to about 4.4. When the new judges are absorbed, and with the hiring that we also are doing on support staff, we'll be back down to about 4.1. Now, there's an interesting question. Is that the right number or not? For the time being, I think that will work. But one of the things that we don't know, or we want to be a little careful about what we're hiring there, is that the profile of staff that you need is going to change fairly dramatically when you move from an antiquated paper system to a relatively good, admittedly needing some improvements, electronic system. And the profile of people, and the number of people, and then the old studies from 1991 on what a jail does really just don't make any sense anymore. So we're looking at that, but we understand how important they are.
Please, and if you can just elaborate more in writing, that would help us understand how you're going to do it. Field offices, do you have any plans to close any field offices this year?
Right now, my understanding is that we don't have any plans pending other than, we work through local communities and political leaders. We do some consolidations and that type of thing. We do relatively few over the objection of members of Congress and political communities. There's none of that profile now. There are some routine consolidations going on. And again, I don't know, I don't get terribly involved in this process. It's a career people run it. Your best guess is that the future is going to look like the past. The net, there'll be about 15 to 20 offices that are affected in some way. Net at the end of the year will be 1 to 3 fewer, probably, but it might not be that many. There's no goal or anything like that. And there's been, I think, some very regrettable partisan attacks saying that there are plans to do something that's a huge break from the past, and we're going to cut half the offices. And I just wanted to announce that here. I think it's being done for partisan purposes. It scares employees, it scares the public. I think it's shameful. So again, I've been up explaining this over and over again. It's no different from when I started. It's no different really since the Carter administration. It's going to be about the same.
And then on that, again, just keep us informed, and perhaps in writing, give us a more elaborate answer to delighted. And finally, just a quick comment. On the appeals process, I want to say thank you very much for taking a breath before you move forward in instituting some of the changes that have been proposed to the system, which many of us believe could have hurt the process because it would have made it more burdensome upon the claimants and beneficiaries. So we appreciate that, and we hope you'll continue to keep us apprised and all the stakeholders apprised and allow them to be a part of any system that you ultimately recommend.
Okay.
Thank you very
I
much.
should also note, by the way, I was out in one of the hearing offices in your district just a couple of weeks ago, which is one of the, I think, the historic low performer for about a decade in the system. And we sent them a signal that things needed to change. And I have to be honest, I was dubious at what happened. But if you actually look at the statistics in your Pasadena office, there's been a remarkable pickup in the last 6 months. The spirit there seems to be very different. So in terms of I mean, part of this, as you were saying, is cultural, insisting on change. So at least I think we've got about 4 hearing offices in the vicinity of your district. One of them has really made a pretty substantial improvement in the last 6 months. It can happen.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Becerra. Mr. Beaton.